Okay, so I just spent way too much time analyzing every single boss in Block Tales. And honestly, the results are going to mess with your head. Like, everyone's been completely wrong about which fights are actually the hardest. In this video, I'm going to show you the definitive ranking of all 24 Block Tales bosses based on real analysis. I'm calling out which encounters everyone misjudges, and I'm breaking down exactly what makes a boss truly difficult beyond just looking at their health bar. So first things first, we need to talk about how to actually measure boss difficulty because most people get this totally wrong. Everyone just looks at health points and damage numbers, but that's like judging a car by its paint job. The real factors that matter are mechanical complexity, timing requirements, what tools you have available when you fight them, progression context, and strategic demands. I created a 6-factor system that actually reflects how challenging these fights feel when you're in the middle of them, not just what the stats look like on the Roblox wiki. Let's start with the bottom tier, the tutorial and beginner bosses. Red and blue noobs are obviously number 1 and 2 on the easiest list. They've got 7 and 6 health respectively and deal 1 damage each, and their only trick is that whoever survives gets a small attack boost. Spiky Killbot comes in at number 3, even though it has crazy defense, because it only has 2 health and you literally just throw a bomb at it. Supreme Ant, Banished Knight, Turkey, and green and purple noobs all fall into the same category. These fights are straightforward. You hit them, they hit you back, someone wins, no complex strategies are needed. Moving into positions 7 through 9, we've got Komodo Dragon, which is just basic melee attacks, and the Great Flocky, which is more about story than actual combat challenge. These encounters don't require any special preparation or advanced thinking. Now, here's where things get interesting. The moderate tier. Griefer's first phase sits at number 10, and this is where the game starts asking you to actually think. He's got 24 health, hits for real damage, and those slow debuffs will mess you up if you're not careful. Greed comes next because even though the fight itself isn't brutal, you have to navigate that annoying maze first. Plus, he steals your money, which is just rude. Solitude requires puzzle solving on top of combat, and Slasher has those defense buffs that can drag the fight out if you don't handle them right. The advanced tier is where most players start hitting walls. Sentient Statue at number 14 is the first real difficulty spike in the game. This thing has 14 health, its attacks pierce defense, and the timing windows are actually challenging. Cruel King follows at 15 with 30 health, freezing attacks that lock you out of actions, and he summons helpers that make your life miserable. Bigfoot rounds out this tier because those multi-hit attacks combined with a tiny debuff can absolutely wreck you if you're not prepared. Getting into expert territory, Fear sits at number 17, and this boss will absolutely humble you. The timing on its attacks is brutal. It silences you, which cuts off your special moves, and it summons phobias to pile on the pressure. Bubonic Plant is next. This is Griefer's second phase with 40 health, multiple multi-hit attacks, and poison mechanics that force you to play defensively. Temple Guardian comes in at 19 because fighting 3 segments at once while the left hand deals 10 damage to your whole team is just a pain. The master tier starts with Captain Trotter at number 20. This guy's pure stance system means you have to constantly switch up your weapon types or he'll reflect your attacks back at you. It's like playing chess while someone's punching you. Supreme Mosquito sits at 21 as the first super boss with 60 health, 8 damage attacks that pierce defense, it heals itself, and you have to manage mosquito swarms on top of everything else. Now we're getting to the absolute top tier. The Ancients come in at 22, and this boss is just unfair. That Ultra Beam attack hits multiple times for massive damage. It can disable your swords completely, and it summons vessels to help it out. This fight tests everything you've learned up to this point. At the 23 spot, we have Hatred, and honestly, this boss almost broke me. It has 50 health and a charge outburst attack that deals 60 damage, which can instantly end you. It summons apparitions that mock you while they attack, and the timing windows are frame perfect. In order to survive its signature move, you're going to need Ghost Potion, but even then, it's still going to be rough. But here's the shocking truth. Finn McCool is the hardest boss in Block Tales, and it's not even close. This absolute unit has 70 health, which is the highest of any single enemy in the game. His bat combo hits for 10 damage twice. He's got multiple attack variations with different timings, and here's the kicker. He summons 2 different types of enemies that each require completely different strategies. Shotgun blokes have invisible attacks and ridiculous timing, while megaphone men heal and buff the whole enemy team. Finn McCool is a yellow-skinned Robloxian in dark green pants and a purple sleeveless shirt. He wears black sunglasses over another pair of black sunglasses. You can see the second pair when he gets hit. Plus, he's got a purple baseball cap that costs 60,000 Robux in real life. The double sunglasses thing is a reference to Master Chief wearing a second helmet under his helmet. His bat smackdown is based on Goro Majima's brutal bat combos from Yakuza 0. If you know Yakuza combat, you know Majima's bat attacks can demolish enemies in seconds. Finn brings that same devastating energy to Block Tales. His bat attacks deal 20 damage with confusion effects, but his combo attacks, that's where things get terrifying. Finn walks up and swings his bat twice, then kicks. These are 3 hits total, dealing 10 damage each for 30 total damage, plus slow debuffs. This is more devastating than the Ancient's basic attacks. But Finn isn't just a damage dealer, he's a strategic commander. He can heal every enemy and himself for 2 HP while giving himself fine and fast buffs for 3 turns. He summons 3 megaphone men and shotgun blokes, each with 10 HP. Managing these summons while dealing with Finn's relentless attacks creates an overwhelming scenario. His ultimate sequence is pure psychological warfare. Finn does a flip into a cool pose and charges up. On the next turn, he uses Bat Smackdown. You get exactly 1 turn to prepare for his most devastating combo. Here's where the lore gets interesting. After defeating Finn, you get the Converging Timelines achievement. According to his dialogue, Finn was hosting one of the best parties before the player indirectly crashed it in some alternate timeline. You're essentially fighting 3 different boss types at the same time, while Finn himself is trying to cave your skull in with a baseball bat. The endurance requirement alone puts this fight in a league of its own. What makes this ranking different from what everyone else says is that I'm not just looking at stats. Context matters. Tools available matter. Mechanical complexity matters way more than big health numbers. That's why Hatred ranks below Finn even though people think about it more. Hatred has 1 signature move you need to avoid, but Finn throws everything at you simultaneously. Understanding these rankings means nothing without knowing the advanced strategies that separate successful players from those who struggle endlessly. Watch this next video to discover the universal combat principles that work against every boss tier, because once you understand these core concepts, even Finn McCool becomes an easy win.